Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We've got a great show lined up for you. I'm Harvey Freed. My co-host today, John Kolb.
Hey, Harv. Happy to be here. Happy Saturday, everyone. It's going to be a great, beautiful, warm day.
You were hanging out with my brother, you said, John. You Michigan State guys. You guys were all together last night, yelling and screaming, I'm sure, at the TV.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A little raspy voice. We were up too late watching the games. Sorry for Michigan's loss, but go green.
All right, we got a lot to talk about. We'll even interject a little of the sports of what's going on. That's always my favorite stuff. Tigers are the best 0-2 baseball team, I think, in Major League Baseball. Donna McFarlane, you're going to talk real estate with us all morning. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Well, it's great to see you. And, of course, Oakstone Realty. You guys been around now for a handful of years, but all-season veterans. You guys put together a great office. We had one of the brokers was in here. Was it last year?
We've had Sarah Patrick. We've had her husband Brad Patrick in here. Jennifer Tate will not get on the radio. She's told me adamantly that she will not do it. But great people, and Donna is just one of the most amazing people to come out of this office because of the care and love that she gives her buyers and her sellers, and how much effort she puts into buying and selling. It's really she'll tell you stories, but it's really amazing some of the stuff that she does for her buyers and the care packages she puts together for them. So I'd love to get into that with her.
Great do's and don'ts, and she cares that you walk away from the transaction getting everything what you were expecting. Your expectations have to be met. And Donna, we started this morning off just talking a little bit about what's going out there. Of course, the first quarter is just about ended now. And I'm not going to kick the can too hard because I've done some transactions. I'd like to see more and more families get out there and take advantage of the prices that are available. I don't think we've hit that 2025 price increase quite yet. So, Donna, we'll talk about that little window of opportunity, maybe 30 or 60 days more before the multiple bids really, really start coming in.
Oh, I agree with that. Right now, it is a great time for buyers and for sellers because the prices are still holding as far as the seller's opportunity. But in addition to that, the homes are staying on the market just a little bit longer, giving buyers opportunities to actually look at the homes, take the time, working with your lender, knowing what process to go through, and being able to be really happy with the transaction from the start to the end.
Getting educated is what John and I have been doing for so many years. But that confidence, it's like we talk about it. Sometimes I'm just talking too much. Well, I always talk too much, John, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
But sometimes I'm giving a lot of information about buying that first home and stuff. And it's building that confidence bank. So when you finally get out there to look at the homes, now it sort of all comes together and you can look at something and say, God, this house would be perfect. But at least I talked to Harvey or I talked to my lender, John. I know what extra money I'll be working with to maybe do those repairs or those upgrades that I'm looking for.
Right. We talk about this all the time. People wait and wait and wait. They have to stop waiting. The interest rates are not going to be as low as you want them to be. They never will be. Like, I hate to quote Harry because he's not even here, but he's always saying, if it was 3, they would have wanted 2. If it was 4, they wanted 3. Now they're mid 6s and people want them lower. And guess what, guys? They're not going to be any lower anytime soon. I hate to say it, but they're just not. So I know from my experience, and when I get my tax, my SEV and taxable value forms from the city of Royal Oak every year, that my value is going up $6,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year. That's going to happen. And if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, you're going to miss out on these lower values, and they're going to keep increasing. Now, I will tell you that when talking to our resident Debbie Downer and our appraiser Mike Tomchek, he's saying that it's a stabilized I know, and I wish Mike was here. We tried to get him on today. He's saying it's a stabilized and declining market out there right now, which I understand it, but we are seeing more and more values staying more and more consistent and rising.
Donna, I see the inventory up in Florida, like it's dramatically up in Florida from what was going on the last couple of years. I don't think it's that happen. That's not happening here.
It's not happening.
Oh, okay, good.
In this Detroit metropolitan area, we are still in an increasing rise from 2000. From last year to this year, we've still increased, and so the prices are holding and rising. I think a lot of times with the appraiser part of it is the way the information that's being presented to them regarding the home. So it's not just about the comps, but it's about the individual home, and there's where you're building your value.
Yep.
Depending on who is representing you as the agent.
The cost of repairs, to even the upkeep of a house is obviously
Absolutely.
dramatically increased. Also, the cost of everything increased. So if you need a new hot water heater, it's not $850 anymore. It's $1,400, to $1,800, depending upon the location. If the plumber could even get in there and access the hot water here, so everything's gotten a little bit more expensive. So yeah, the cost of goods, the cost of lumber, all these things are going to increase the appreciation. It's just naturally going to happen, increase the appreciation all across the country. We hope specifically here in Michigan. All right, let's talk a little bit about your neck of the woods. Definitely out there in Ray Township and northern Macomb County, that whole area. Over the years, I've had tons of clients out that way. Armada, it started with Armada years ago. Now it just keeps going north Romeo, and all the great areas. And they have some great downtown walkable cities too. Let's just highlight a couple of the cool things out your way.
Yeah. Well, first off, let me tell you, we are, because I work with my partner, Nick, who happens to be my son, we are kind of a divide and conquer, and we can cover a vast area. So just this year alone, we've gone from Farmington Hills up to Armada. We've done Elmont. We're in Centerline. We're up to Independence Township. We're in Port Huron. So we are all over. We're a vast area, and that's just this year alone. But walkable, there's so many exciting things happening in the Sterling Heights area with the new construction and what they're doing with Lakeside Mall.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be incredibly exciting. And then you go up to the Armada and the Romeo area, and we're dealing with just small town, but people are looking for land. They're looking for great internet connections. They're, a little bit leery on, what is a septic and field, and what is a well, and what are we doing with that? So you better have a pro, a very knowledgeable realtor that can help guide you through all that, and who knows where the health department is. What are we talking about on water tests, and all these different levels of that. But it's very exciting, and people are looking to be outdoors and create that walkable space, and have their animals. It's a
I had my buddy up there, and again, I don't want to leave Marlette out of there because I have an old buddy from Marlette.
Oh, boy.
I'll keep dropping all my cities up that way.
So Donna brings up a great point, right? The well and septic, right?
Yeah.
So with the government loans, you're required to get a well and septic test and disclose it to your lender. But for conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, you don't necessarily have to do that. But a lot of those cities and counties are now requiring a test and for well and septic to be presented to the county. So you, like Donna said, you have to make sure you get yourself in front of a realtor that is aware of all this stuff, because we don't want that to come down to the last thing. And if you're a seller, why wouldn't you have those tests done before putting your house on the market, so that you can disclose it to the buyer saying, hey, I've already had these tests done. Here's what you're looking at. I know you're going to have to get your own test, but so you know what you're getting yourself into. I've got a septic field that is in perfect condition. I've got a well that's enough feet away from the septic in the house. And so, as a seller, I always say it's imperative to know what you're selling, right? You don't want to get yourself get out there and say, oh my gosh, they did a sewer scope test, and the sewer's about to collapse because all the tree roots. Know all this stuff before you're going to put your house on your market, so you can disclose it all to somebody who's going to be buying.
We're going down that road. Well and septic, now sewer. We're going to go down that road this morning. 248-539-9797. Donna, what John is saying is, like, how come we're not doing this ahead of time? Here we are, 2025, and the negotiations of the house, we're all going through that. It's a couple days on the phone. You're back and forth. But now we got the inspection. And now something comes up where, wait a minute here, the septic field's outdated. It hasn't been maintained properly. Things of that nature. And I think it's a great point on what you can do if you have a house that you're selling with well and septic. You can have that already handled ahead of time. You might get more money for your house by presenting a well and septic report to the potential buyers right away.
Well, here's the thing about that. Me and my partner, Nick, we both are very, very big on over-disclosing. We are listing a house. And there's a ton of reasons why that, people are very afraid of those seller disclosures, and they are very limited on what they're putting down. And I'm like, make notes, tell us everything. We're going room by room when we're going through it, like just pointing out different things. Because the last thing you want to do is sell your home now we're getting to the home inspection and we're like, oh, what if they found that, or what if they found that? And then everything starts falling apart. But if it's disclosed and you've done your pre-inspection and you've done your well and you know what you're dealing with Macomb County, or in this case, Macomb
Any county
Health
for that
Department,
matter,
any
yeah.
county, exactly. You've already mitigated a lot of this, and you're going to hold your deal together because everything was disclosed up front. So we are going to get to that closing table, and that's the ultimate goal, is not just to sell the house, but to get to our closing table, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side. So over disclose, over disclose, over disclose.
I love that. 248-539-9797. We got lots to talk about this morning. We'll jam it all in like we always do. Like my phone calls, you call me up to buy a house. All of a sudden, we're talking about everything. And this morning, we're getting into some well and septic and really just disclosure situations, because as a seller, there's a lot of sellers driving. And when you said that, there's, oh, that inspection, I hope they don't catch that. Yeah, you don't need that feeling. That's not really where you want to be when you're selling a house. Everything should be up front, and that way you don't have to worry about lawsuits or any hassles.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the way, that can come back and bite you in the butt after closing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We just had somebody who we spoke to who's finding out that the house that they purchased had a fire, and it was never disclosed. How do you not disclose that? I mean, and I questioned, how did you not even know that from the appraiser? There had to have been city
Home
permits,
inspection, something, right?
The city had to have known about the fire, because you would have had to pull permits to redo everything. And how didn't the appraiser catch all that? So there's a lot of things that we're talking with this new. Actually, he already purchased with this new purchaser about like how did all this go through with your other lender? How did this all go through with the other appraiser, and the seller didn't disclose? So there's a lot of issues with the house. They wanted to do some cash out to do some repairs, and they're finding soot and all that stuff. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's like I said, he's not looking to go back to the seller after closing, but those are the kind of things that can come back and bite you in the butt as a seller if you don't disclose them.
All right, we're up against our first break. I like where this is going. Donna, it's segueing right into where we want to go. You better hire one of the best professional real estate agents. Donna McFarlane, she's one of them. Come and join us, 248-539-9797. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We'll be right back. We are back live here in the studio, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 25th year. If you're just joining us, we do take your calls. Don't text us today. Don't do that texting and stuff. We're not going to go to those. I can't have a computer screen up.
Are you Harry? How old are you? You don't text?
No, I mean
that's
don't
how
take a
half
text
the,
today.
half the
Just call.
population communicates that way. That's all they talk about. Do is text.
I know.
Here, we're without the old guy in the room today, Harry. We miss you, but we're bringing the age gap down here a little bit.
Donna McFarlane joins us from Oak and Stone Realty, and of course, Donna, thanks for joining us. We're going to get into some really fun stories here. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Fund. You can call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820, equal housing lender. Special guest Donna McFarlane, and it is fun. Like, I got some energy, and all of a sudden, I'm going to let this coffee kick in here. Donna, we are starting to segue into why it's so important to hire a real estate agent, and we know it is, but let's just go into that one or two stories you've got. The ones as a seller, how the seller almost made a mistake.
Yes. So how this works is I had a listing appointment. It was a referral. Most of our business, I will say, is built on referrals.
Yes.
And I truly believe customer satisfaction starts with either the next sale or a referral by somebody. This happened to be a referral. So it was an aging parent who was going to go into a senior living facility, which a lot of us are dealing with currently right now with our aging parents. So I have a listing appointment, and the seller talks to the neighbor next door, and they've been friends for probably 30 years. So really a great relationship between the two. So he lets them know that, yep, we're going to be listing our house tomorrow. We're with an agent. She turns around, a very nice lady, also neighborly, great relationship over the years, and says, I think I have my son who might want to purchase this home. So this is all behind the scenes. The son calls and says, this is what I feel the house is worth. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to clean it out. I'll take it as is. I'm not going to do any repairs. I'm going to offer you $325,000. Mm-hmm. Now, the son gets a hold of me and lets me know that, listen, the son is going to come over and he's going to have a purchase agreement for my dad, and you need to go over there and talk to them really quick. And I have already done a lot of research on this home. I have my listing contract, and I just need to look at the house to get a fair value on it. This house is worth $380,000 all day long. Now, the neighbor next door son is constantly like, well, you don't have to move anything out. And this is a big concern for elderly people. How am I going to move all this?
Pulling on those coach strings.
Yeah, what am I going to do? And I can leave all this extra stuff here. Well, if you hire a professional, I already have our vendors. I can do a deep clean. I know I can help you move out. I can do all the things that are making everything so anxious with the seller. What it turns out to be, the difference between a $325,000 deal, not paying realtor commissions, that was the big thing. Don't pay realtor commissions. It turns out to be a sale of $380,000, netting them over a $357,000, over $30,000 is what it was. So when we were doing out the net sheet, I'm like, let's just talk about this for a minute. With all due respect, I understand the neighborhood issue. However, let's do a net sheet. So we did a net sheet out, and it's just a little bit over $30,000. And I said, now, I understand the relationship is there. Are we cutting them back a check for $10,000 like your neighbor? Is that what we want to do? Because I know how much, you like them. And he looked at me and he's like, why would I do that? And I said, that's my point right there.
Right.
So we're going to keep that extra $10,000. Right. So you're going to walk away with your over 30. We sold it within 48 hours with no repairs. And yes, I helped and my partner helped do the clean out and made it such a smooth transition that at the end of it, and we're doing our closing, there was a big hug and a big thank you for it.
I love that story, John.
I just did the math on $380,000. If you pay full commission of 6%, it's $22,800, right? So let's just call that 25 for easy math. If you back that out, that's $355, and they wanted to sell it for $325. So what Donna's saying is that you got $30,000 more for the house by using a realtor and getting the advice of a professional than you would have had you done. And nothing against that neighbor, right?
Absolutely
they weren't trying
not.
to be malicious.
No,
they were
not at all.
They were trying to just get a good deal for their child to be able to move into the neighborhood and start anew just like they did. But when it comes to the elderly, sometimes that extra $30,000 could be
it's huge,
an extra 2 years of
At a
money
nursing
that they
home
need
or at a
for-
retirement facility or
right.
assisted living
And,
facility. Those,
you
the
know,
cost has gone through the roof on that stuff.
Oh, yeah. So you got to make sure that you're talking to a professional. And maybe Donna would have come out there and said, you know what, $325, that's a real fair price. And I think if he's willing to pay that, you know what, you're right, you don't need me. Because I know that's what Donna would have done.
Donna, if you
no,
comped it right, if you had
absolutely.
that
If I
thing
would have
comped
been
at
wrong,
330 or
right.
340, you're like, wait a minute here. You know, if you really got this person, I'll make a relationship with them and I'll sell it when they're ready to get rid of it in the future.
Correct. But our numbers, I mean, that's exactly what went down. And I was really confident in our numbers and the
Right.
research that we did. And you knew the market. I mean, I knew the market. I knew what the home was worth, even in the condition that it was.
Right.
So
I love that story.
And it could have been elderly and it could have been just a middle-aged. You don't know what your home is worth.
Right.
Everything's changing so quickly.
And the
in this
scammers are
market.
out there. And
All day
again,
long.
you got good people out there that they didn't do anything wrong. The
Absolutely.
neighbors were totally perfect to make that offer, but the scammers are out there. And I hate to say it, but we'll get into it. We saw one on the news this week here in Metro Detroit, all across the great state of Michigan. And one of our fellow residents here in Michigan got had. You know, she had one of these cash offers. I get them in my mailbox all the time. Hey, we drove by your house and we want to offer you cash offer. Those numbers are ridiculous, folks. You got to start burning that mail because the cash offer is not the going price of what the homes are selling for in today's marketplace. Again, we're just going sort of circling back to say that's why it's so important to have a professional real estate agent on your team. You can make your own decision, John.
Yeah.
But let the agents bring you all the knowledge and the analytics to it because you know the data doesn't lie.
It doesn't. And in being in the business that we are in, our goal ultimately is to create financial wealth, whether you're selling or whether you're buying. That is our goal.
Love those stories. All right, we're going to sneak in one more though, John. Definitely.
I was just going to say, are you getting those texts and phone calls about, you know, hey, we want to buy your house in your area? Because I
And
do
the mailers,
all the
mailers,
time,
yeah.
all the time, and I always go
call back most of the time.
I go $500,000 over what my house is worth. Are you looking to sell? Sure, I'll sell it, and I add 500 to what it's worth.
Yeah.
and you know, see if they're going to take that and pay me
might
cash.
sell it.
Oh, I'll sell it and move out right away. I'll go live at the Townsend for a couple months for
right.
you know $30,000 a month for $500,000 more than what my house is worth.
Donna, you're the professional in the industry. Let's just go and say it for everyone out there. The cash offers that are coming to your house most of the times are under what the market value is. Let's just agree to that.
I agree with that.
Okay, fantastic,
Absolutely.
folks. When you get those offers, no quick sale. You can sell your house with a mortgage and buyers, and you can do that in 3 weeks if we need to. So you don't need that rush. I don't know if you need that money that bad, you might be getting scammed or catfished on the other end. Let's go to that catfish story real quick out there because the scammers are out there, and we do a customer advocacy show is what we're doing here. We're trying to protect buyers and sellers out there, anyone who owns real estate. There's some bad people out there posing to be sellers.
That is probably one of the hottest topics out there currently right now, which is seller impersonations. So we've all heard about wire fraud, and we've got our red flags up on that.
Yeah.
But what they are becoming right now is these scammers are incredibly sophisticated, and they are going after and pretending or impersonating sellers. And how this works is that they're calling a realtor, and they are listing their property. The properties usually are vacant. They're snowbirds. They're searching it through obituaries, so there's no one in the home. Now they go in and they're going to change out the locks.
Right.
They have, it's almost like squatters, but
Yeah.
these people think that they're going to sell. They call the realtor. The realtor is like, okay, yeah, no, for sure. Well, let's list it. They don't want to meet in person though, because they're out of town or they're out of state. And so they're going to do everything by phone. And the agents are so excited to list this property. They start asking questions, or they're not asking the right questions. And then they're like, they don't know very much about the property at
And they're
all.
posing to be the
And they're
actual
posing
seller.
the
So when
actual
you pull
seller.
up the data, it says Mr.
Right.
and Mrs. Smith.
That is
and
exactly
this person,
right.
okay.
And so if the listing agent isn't asking the proper questions, right? Do you know anything about the property? Do you know where this is? Do you know where that is? No. I don't have time for any of this. Now it's on the MLS, and you have a buyer and you have a buyer's agent. Now what happens what happens now? They want a quick sale. They want the mortgage person out. They don't want the lender involved. Let's just take it out of our 401k. They want a quick sale. It's undervalued. This is such a great deal. Let's move fast, right? Slow it down,
They
cut out
don't
people.
want all the research.
They don't want the research. They want you just to either dip into your savings or get everyone out of there. And then what happens is they go to close. Everyone closes. You don't have the right title company. You got your mortgage that's been pulled out. The deal's consummated. The wire transfer. They don't come in for the closing. They can't. Everything's being notarized by their notary. These are all huge red flags, right? And ultimately, they don't own
The house.
the house. They don't own.
And your poor
the
buyers
land.
are running around, spending in money with inspections, getting excited, measuring rooms, everything involved. They think they're stealing a house. They just took their proceeds out of their 401k, out of their lifetime savings. They thought they were getting a bargain. We got nothing.
Well, they
It's a huge
also
scam.
even have a deed, and they filed
Really?
it with the county, right? So it's all the way through.
Boy, oh boy.
And so now where are we? Where's the liability because you didn't use your buyer's knowledge and have great buyer's representation? Where are you sitting now? Who owns what?
Well, I got a real problem with this because where's the title company? I mean, and because there's supposed to be all these stops, and you really can't.
Sometimes you remove the title company. Even.
That's correct.
They're
You wanna use
removing them
theirs.
because
They're just
you're
doing,
using
they're
some
just
fake
doing,
title. Yeah,
or they're just doing a deed. That's it.
they're making stuff up. Everything's fake. The documents are fake. The people are fake, and everything. It can be scary out there. Removing the professionals is really what our topic
That's
is here.
exactly what it is.
So
And moving it and going so fast.
One of
You
the-
slow it down. Slow it down, and don't cut your lender out. This is why capital mortgage is so important. This is why having a knowledgeable buyer's agent.
All right, we got so much to share with you. All right, the first 30 minutes was all this look out, buyer beware, and all these scams out there. The next 30 minutes is going to be how do we get you into a house? 248-539-9797. Keep it here. Righty, 8:30. If you're just joining us, that's right. Keep it here on 97.1 The Tickets, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Did you guys hear Michigan State won the basketball game last night? Loving it.
I mean, what do you mean? Did I hear? I mean, I stayed up watching it. We watched the Michigan game too.
All right, you Michigan fans, you got the Big Ten championship. Though I'm going to pat them on the back. They had a good season over there at U of M, Michigan.
U of M had a great season. They did not have the Big Ten championship. That was Michigan State. Michigan won the tournament.
Okay, they won the tournament.
Let's get this
That's
right.
a good season.
Paul's got the right hat on in there.
Good job, Paul. Hey, we take your calls this half an hour, 248-539-9797. Becky Alley joins us on the line, top 1% of all originators in the U.S. Becky, what's going on downriver?
You know, we are busy all the time. We are getting into the peak home buying season. You guys have been doing a great job talking about it, and it's just about getting people prepared.
I like that one. Definitely be prepared. Donna McFarlane joins us in. We started, Becky, this morning. We started going over some of the negativity stuff out there. But the good stuff is if you're a buyer out there, well in septic, getting the proper sewer line inspection. But there's no doubt, after you finally negotiated and got that house, you do an inspection, and sometimes things do come up. The sewer line can be completely jammed. We still are seeing this. We see a lot of flaking paint and things of this. So we started talking about sellers' maintenance and things they could do to really present their house and get the most amount if they're selling their house in today's market.
You know, I'm really glad you brought that up because that is actually something that is shipping paint right now is a major issue because we're in that in-between season where you can't necessarily, like, you might not be able to paint outside because it's a little bit colder. But if that house was built and lead-based paint could be a factor and you're trying to close before you fix that chipping paint, you're going to need a quote from a certified lead-based paint painter that could be a little bit more expensive to make sure that that paint is properly disposed of and done, you know, the right way, especially if this is an FHA transaction. I have a few of them that come up, and it's an FHA thing, especially, like I said, if you're not doing it in advance. But if you're able to fix those things on the inside, do it, save yourself some time. But that's definitely something that needs to be brought to attention because it's been a thing on a couple of transactions for not even just the capital mortgage funding. I've heard about it from everywhere.
Donna, that comes all the time. You agents want to list the house. That's your job. I mean, it's your job to go there and get the house on the market.
You agents.
Wow.
That's
That's all right.
You want to get the house listed. It's a tough conversation to say to a seller, look, we've got some maintenance here. Let's take care of these things.
It's an honest conversation that you need to have between the two parties. So it's a relationship when you decide to work with a seller or they hire you. It is a relationship. So we're going room by room. We're going on the outside. We're looking. So even if they choose not to do it, we want to explain to them that this is going to arise depending on the loan. Are we doing a VA? Are we doing FHA, a conventional, cash? These are going to come up. So either we address them now or we know that we're going to be addressing them when the home inspection is done. So just preparing them, letting them know budget-wise. And so working with someone who's like, okay, when I'm looking at the home and listing it, I'm looking at foundation. I'm looking at the brick on the outside. We're taking a walk around. We're not just listing it. It has to be good for all parties involved because the last thing you want is to have a confrontation with the seller at all points of, well, you didn't tell me about that. You didn't tell me when we were doing an FHA or a VA or anything like that. These are things that need to be brought up. These are good conversations to have with your client.
Right. And you don't want it to come down to, like Becky said, some of this stuff is all weather related and you cannot do some of the exterior stuff right now that you normally would. So we do allow for weather related escrows on that stuff. But like Becky said, you need to have a certified professional with a quote so that we can know how much money to hold in escrow. But even if your realtor misses it, even if the buyer's inspector misses it, you know who's going to catch it? The appraiser. And then closing is held up because all of a sudden this is new to you. You cannot have a realtor and an inspector out there that is missing silly little things like that. I don't care if it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be a big deal to the appraiser. It's going to be a big deal to the underwriter, and that's going to hold up the purchase.
Donna, you see this health and safety issue. So more and more appraisers are reaching out to us and they're saying, Harvey, look, it doesn't matter if it's FHA or government loan. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the conventional mortgages, health and safety, they're CYA, they're covering their own butt to make sure that this doesn't come back and backfire on them. Again, I like how you said that, John. You could go out there with a power washer today at 70 degrees and get it all power washed, get all that, clean up all the peeling paint, hit it with a nice coat of primer. You're ready to go. And it looks good. You're presenting, don't have the exposed wood out there, and you're showing that you've taken care of your property. It's so important.
I agree with you all the way. And another thing to bring up, we're in Michigan, right? So mold is something that we're going to be prevalent on. Attics, we look at that. So if we are looking at that and we do see that, that's something that we can mitigate above or before we even list it, or we know that. So having the company come out and do it. And this is something that we don't need to be afraid of as buyers, or buyer's agents should be informing our client of. This is nothing to be afraid of. We will have it mitigated by a company, and we know what we're dealing with when we're dealing with mold, along with everything else that we're talking about. But these are going to be situations that arise.
Becky, we had talked before you had called in. We had talked about possibly having sellers do their inspection before a pre-inspection. Just get an idea. Hey, I don't know what's going on with my car. All the bells and alarms. This is a true story, by the way. I don't know what's going on with my car. All the bells and alarms just started going off. I had a squirrel chew through a sensor wire. A squirrel.
Oh, did you?
Right, in Royal Oak. So I have no idea.
Squirrel.
So, you got to get a professional in there to find out what's going on. And like when you're selling a house, like we were talking about, you got to get a professional in there so they can tell you, hey, these kind of things are going to pop up if you try to sell this house.
Exactly.
Yeah, the point of what we are trying to do here every week, every Saturday, is to make sure that you are responding and not reacting to things. And, and everything you guys are bringing up is valid. We can respond to paint. You can clearly see it with your eyes. It's going to come up whether you want to look at it or not. The appraiser is going to cite it. And, some things are going to come up whether it's conventional or FHA. Mold is a thing, whether it's conventional or FHA. If you know it's there in advance and we can take the extra steps, it's going to make the transaction be a lot more pleasant, because this is a human element as well. I'll give you an example that I'm dealing with right now. I have an FHA appraisal. The appraiser made a mistake and marked it as is. But then he turned around and took pictures of very clear chipping paint steps and all those, and like chipping paint on the walls. And now we have an FHA appraisal that says as is, but technically it's not as is because it's not going to satisfy FHA conditions and it would be a buyback. So we still had to get repairs. So there has to be eyeballs on everything, because you have to make sure that people are not making mistakes at the end of the day. And we are the majority investor, and ultimately we want to make sure that our buyers, you as a buyer, are getting in a house that is of sound mind and best bones body.
That is such a great point, Becky. I don't know how many times in my 28 years of doing this that I've told somebody that on page 2 of the appraisal, it says as is, we're good. But if you don't scroll through those pictures that the appraiser has taken to make sure that the appraiser didn't take pictures of something without commenting on it, that's a mistake by me, right? Yeah. And you can't, and I don't do that anymore, because the realtors will call me up and say, hey, is the appraisal in? It was in yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to review it yet. So I'm telling them, no, I still need to review this, because even though it says as is in the email and everything is perfect and it came in at the purchase price, if I don't scroll through every single one of those pictures to find out if there's anything else that the appraiser took a picture of that's going to be an issue, because our underwriters will catch it, and we want to make sure the buyers is protected and knows that this could be an issue down the road.
I'm going to leave Becky with Becky. Let's add some good stuff before we let you go. You get the last word, Becky. But let's talk about some great stuff like down payment assistance. I wish I would have dove in and did this in my 20s and got some money from the state of Michigan, but there's so many down payment assistance programs. Hit us with some good stuff, Beck.
That is true. I mean, I bought my first house and I didn't use down payment assistance, but, I feel like, it wasn't talked about. And, the truth is that you don't need to be a first time buyer to take advantage of some of the money that's out there. But, there are so many programs. You just have to have the conversation, whether it's to the state of Michigan, it's $10,000. Some of the cities directly, like Lincoln Park, Taylor, Trenton, Woodhaven, they're offering $14,999. And even we have another program. You don't have to be a first-time buyer. You can get up to 5% towards your down payment. but all these different programs have different set rules. Some of them have income restrictions, some of them don't. So if you're thinking about buying a house and if down payment is the holdup, call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. Call anybody, really, and just have a conversation and see what's out there for you, because that's the difference between you renting one more year or not in some of these cases.
Hey, Beck, where are we in the status of MSHDA increasing the purchase price and also the income limits?
So April 1st is going to be the announcement for the purchase price. So it's been $224,500 since, I don't know, 2009, I believe, and it's obviously not correct. So they're now going to be mirroring that, pretty similar to what the FHA loan limit is, which is like $456, I think, I believe. I don't
Even
wanna,
higher,
talk
even
about.
higher.
Okay,
That's okay.
so if whatever
It's a
the
lot.
FHA is going to, but no, what I'm saying is the MSHDA one's going to be closer to the 456 mark.
Right.
And in May, they're going to be announcing right behind that the income. They normally up the income every May. I'm hoping they'll do it a little bit sooner, because then we're going to have these higher price points that you can go up to, but then the income is not going to be mirroring, the price points. So I do hope that they kind of do it hand in hand. That would make most sense to me. But I know April 1st is a big announcement.
Yeah, that's the most common sense way of doing it. But the state of Michigan sometimes doesn't do everything common sense wise. But what you actually, the great point, Becky, that the value of these homes and the increase in the purchase price that you can go with MSHDA, if they don't follow suit with the income, people won't be able to afford them, because MSHDA has a debt to income restriction for your for what you qualify for.
0.45. Can't break that. Beck, we're up against our last break. Thanks for joining us, the great Becky Ailey. And again, call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll hook you up with Becky, John Cole, myself, anytime. MSHDA's a great program, John. If you don't want the down payment assistance of $10,000, that's okay. They'll give you an interest rate of 6%, a little bit under the market today. So definitely opportunities out there for all our buyers. Hey, keep it here on 97.1 The Tickets. We got our last segment coming up. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back in our last segment here. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. I'm Harvey Free. John Kolb in the studio with me. Of course, Becky Ellie did our call-in, and Donna McFarlane joined us from Oakstone Realty. It's the quickest hour here, Donna. We really appreciate you coming in, always protecting buyers, helping sellers maximize what they're getting. I still get the calls. I'm getting the younger generation now, the people that I've grown up with and the parents that I know. Now their children are calling us. And they're all a lot smart, like I said, a lot smarter than me for sure. Lawyers and doctors, and some are even moving back to our areas. So we're excited. Michigan's still one of the, to me, of course, the best state out of all 50. We're the best place to live here. So definitely trying to help people out. Donna, why would I go to you and some of the different advantages that you and your team present to buyers and sellers?
So I am out of Oakstone in Rochester. I have two brokers, Sarah Patrick and Jennifer Tate, that are absolute dynamite, strong women. So that being said, my partner is my son, Nick McFarlane, and we actually work as a duo. We work in tandem. We work as one in the way that we service our customers and why we can give what I call concierge service, which is we want every single buyer and every single seller that we deal with to think that they are the only one we are dealing with at that time. And we have them ask all the time, do you have more than one client? And we juggle a lot, but we divide and conquer. So we will split on Nick is super, super strong when he's going into a house for a home inspection. He is incredibly, he bought a hoarder house at one time. So he has built it from the bottom up. It took 2 years doing it. So he's really, really good at that. We have two eyes of contracts. That's how we work on it. He's looking at the contract. I'm looking at the contract. Everything we do is a team. So, you're getting a huge benefit from us when we are working with a client or a seller. That's why we're always accessible. That's why we can carry a vast area of what we're covering. That's why we can get you into a home pretty quickly to see it. We're writing contracts. He will be on one end of the city. I will be on the other end of the city. But we're working as one. It's a dynamite team.
But she's not double charging, right?
Oh, no.
Let's make
two,
that.
Yeah.
It's the normal commission, and it's just two people looking out for you, two sets of eyes, and it's amazing. And Donna won me over when we first met. She showed me a picture of these buyer boxes that she put out for. These aren't people that have signed with her. These are people that are coming out saying, hey, I want to look at some homes. And she'll go, here are the necessities that you're going to need. Here's a tape measure. Here's a pad of paper. Here's a pen. Here's a flashlight. I think you have in one of yours.
I do.
And so it's just amazing the care that she puts into these for her buyers, because she wants everyone to be as knowledgeable as she wants them to be.
Don, I beg that folks would just stop clicking buttons. That's not how you buy a house. You know,
It
you
is
could be
not.
out of state. You don't know what agent you're going to get. I can't say these companies out there, but I've dealt with listing agents. They've never even been to the house.
That's
It's
correct.
insanity what's going on there. I never thought the industry on that side would go to that, where families would feel comfortable just clicking a button, dealing with a stranger. I mean, it's unheard of what goes on out there. I love the idea that Nick bought that hoarding house, the hoarder's house. He bought something that needed a ton of work. You want to learn how to sell a house? Buy one. You really want to learn this business? Go buy a house. You'll learn all about it. I always told my buyers that, well, you don't know much now at the first meeting. You're going to know a lot, because it's really all this knowledge that we throw at you. But now you got the offer accepted. Now there's the inspection. Now something's wrong with the house. Now we're negotiating again. That's really how you learn how all this works, and it happens quickly.
It does happen quickly, and the whole thing is not to react. We just take a proactive state.
Mm-hmm.
So we have already prepped our clients of what possibilities that could happen. Whether
Right.
we're looking at the seller disclosures. Is there information on there? Is there not? These are the things that could possibly be surprised. Nick is much better at it. Going through it with the client as far as the walkthrough and what we're going to ask for, and we will ask for things that with our clients that we know are possible deal breakers. So when we know that we need to hold firm and this is not up for negotiations on this particular repair, and then we also know on this one that this repair, this is up for negotiations. We're not getting 100% of that roof replaced because we didn't buy it under the premises that we have a brand new roof, but we're going to get it prorated for you. We will get time back for that, and we will work with the lender. This is such an important part of having a really solid lender also, because through this whole process, our lender, Capital Mortgage, is going to give us the roadmap. It is a whole team thing of where we start with. I start here. I don't know your finances. That's not in my wheelhouse. That's
Right.
not my concern. But having a strong lender that I can rely on when we're writing this offer, how we're going to structure it, that's a big part of it, and it's getting it from the opening that door to our closing table, and there's where your lender is going to come into play.
Yeah, if you're thinking about buying a house in 2025, you're not alone. There's a lot of you out there, but you're going to have to sort of hurry up and then step back a little bit and
Absolutely.
decide who you want to work with. And for all these great reasons, these are the reasons why. We're a community when we're involved in a transaction. We're reaching out to inspection companies. A lot of times we got to get letters back from them if there's something that comes up. But just having those professionals and touching it, we always say checking all the right boxes. That's really the key.
This is the first time that Donna's been on the radio, but it will not be the last, by the way. And hopefully we can get Nick out here too, because I'd love to hear his perspective from the behind the scenes guy. But the number one thing that she just said, and we did not coach her before she came on the show, the number one thing she said is work with your team. We say that all the time, that you have to work with your team. And it's just not realtors and mortgage people. You know, you need to get your accountant involved. You need to get your financial guy involved, because these are all decisions that are lifelong decisions. And you have to make sure that you're making the right decision for you and your family, and it's going to be the right thing. And you know what? I don't have all the answers. I'm okay saying that. Harry thinks he has all the answers, but I don't have all the answers. Harvey doesn't have all the answers. Donna doesn't have all the answers. But as a team, we can get there. And I think that is the most important thing that she just said, is work with your team. And I love that she's partnered up with her son. I love that they have their team together, and they're working with Oak and Stone, because, you know, Jennifer and Sarah are just a backbone that you cannot even mess with, because they're so strong, and they have so much knowledge, and they give so much good advice, and they care so much about their realtors. So talking about a company that you just can't go wrong with, Oak and Stone out of Rochester, and Donna McFarlane, you got to just throw your hat in there with them.
All right, John, it wouldn't be a mortgage. Oh, Don, I'll let you get the last word for sure. Just real quick, Don, before we get into what you got to say at finish up our show. Debt consolidation, real quickly. A lot of us have equity in our home. Things got real costly over the last couple of years. A lot of families looking for some relief. Yes, I had, I'll throw her under. My ex-wife used to spend, I have a client, he's like, Harvey, the UPS guy's at my house. I go, I understand. I used to have that issue. When you know you're the Federal Express guy and the UPS guy, when you know their name, you might be in trouble there. But again, John, debt consolidation can save a lot of families. You got the equity. Let us figure out a way to save you monthly payments.
Right. It's not always going to be, hey, let's do a refinance for you. That makes the most sense. It's not. We have to run the numbers. We have to take a look at what you're spending on a monthly basis. And what we usually do is we go off of the minimums, what your minimum monthly payments are on your credit cards versus what it could be with a new mortgage. And then we take into account, okay, you're saving $300 a month by doing it this, but that's the minimum monthly payments. You also are paying more on those credit cards each and every month. You're putting $100 on each one of those credit cards. So instead of $300, now we're saving you $700 a month. So does it make sense? And I don't want you to be in this higher interest rate loan. So we want you to take that $700 a month at your savings and now start applying it to the principal of the home to pay back the balance back down so that you can get the house paid off sooner.
Deal with a real mortgage banker like us. We can refinance you. You get consolidated. 6 months later, the rates drop a little bit. Now you're a rate and term refinance. Those typically have lower rates than a cash out refinance. Deal with the professionals. You're saving money. That's the key. Give me some more last words, Donna.
We asked Donna to bring in her listings, and she's like, I've sold all the houses. I keep every house that we get, we sell.
Coming up.
She's awesome.
We did.
Conversations now with some new homes that are going to hit the marketplace?
We are working on some currently right now. I mean, we actually have one coming up in Higgins Lake. We have one in Houghton Lake. We'll go to the areas that we know of, and it's based off customer referrals that we've done before. So we can service that end of it. But if anyone wants to reach out to us, it's really simple, donnaandnick.com. You can get a message to us that way, or our phone number, our direct line is 586-907-2228. But again, donnaandnick.com. And
that's a good one. donnaandnick.com is an easy one.
It is. And, we can just have no pressure conversations, and we work at your speed, whatever you're looking at. If we're looking at a year down the road, are we looking at a month down the road? Are we looking, what areas are we looking for? Just nice conversations.
That sounds fun. 248-539-9797. You want to join us? Got a couple minutes left here. John, I didn't even get into the 4 pages. Mortgage rates pretty steady this week, though. Yep. Not a significant change over the last 2 weeks. Stay tuned. Geopolitical events, things are going crazy across the world that can change things quickly. But the bond market was a little stronger to start the week, sort of faded a little bit, but mortgage rates held steady.
Yeah, rates are staying right about where we thought they were going to stay. And the administration's starting to pressure the Fed to try to bring the rates down, but we'll see how that works because they're two opposing sides.
All righty, you just listened to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, if you want to get in touch with any of us, call us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We've got sports for you, and there's a ton going on here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket. We will see you next Saturday on the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Have a nice weekend.